Hello everyone. This land around us has been in the Berry family for over 50 years. Just behind us is where my late grandfather's house once stood until it burned. He was blessed to be able to rebuild and continue his mission of being a good steward over this land. He used this land to raise his family, to build strong community ties, and teach lifelong lessons. Today we continue to be good stewards over this land to carry on that mission and that legacy. Welcome to Berry Family Farms. I'm Cedric Berry and this is Tony Berry.
All right, good morning. Welcome to Berry Family Farms. We are here on the site of our cattle operation, one of our cattle operations. We're actually inside the corral here with some of the steers that we are preparing for processing to get out to some of our customers. I'm Lamar Berry and this is my brother Aubrey. We started this cattle operation years ago following my father, Curtis Berry, the late Curtis Berry, who taught us everything we know about cattle and farming operations. Born here on this land in 1930 with his father, who was a sharecropper. He obtained over 300 acres through sharecropping. And here on this land we we actually grew cotton, tobacco, corn, and soybeans. And in 2008, we transitioned to start the cattle operation back up, and then with 3 cattle. And then my brother Aubrey joined in 2013. And from 2013 to present, our cattle operation has grown from 3 mama cows to 115 and 4 bulls. And so we've been doing a lot of experimenting, different bulls, different genetics. We raise Black Angus, which you see some of the prodigy right here. I think these are some fine looking steers. And we've been able to market to customers in the surrounding areas with pretty good success. And so we are grateful for our customers, our customer base, and for the legacy that our father has left us.
We are a hay operation, we're a cattle operation. We do rotational grazing. We went through the NRCS, we put in cross fencing and heavy use area pads for the cows. So we rotate as needed, put it like that. Since we went through a drought, we have to be careful about how we rotate and when we rotate.
Yeah.
This is just part of the operation. This is the property that we own. We cut hay here, but we also lease 250 acres. 150 of that is grazing, the rest is hay production.
That's right.
So we're steady building. We EQA qualified. We have classes with Fort Valley State, the University of Georgia, to help us do a better product. We did have Fort Valley to evaluate some of our beef, and we are grateful that they did, because the quality of our beef, they graded as a high choice steak.
Very proud of that.
And we're very proud of that.
Yeah.
And we thank Fort Valley State for working with us so close. Dr. Whitley, former Fort Valley, Dr. Nobles.
Dean Nobles, yes.
And also Handy Kennedy for working closely with us on what we do, AgriUnity.
Mm-hmm. Another one of the things that we're very proud of is able to look toward the future with having some of the young people work with us. And we also have some students that have worked with us in the past. In fact, we had one that graduated this year, and we're able to allow him to come out and work on the farm. We chart his hours, and he takes that back to class. and he was graduated with that, graduated this past May. And so it's not just right now, but we're looking toward the future and the children of the future, trying to get all them involved. Okay. A little more about our operation. We have on the cow-calf, again, we have raised Black Angus. We selected good EPDs on our bulls, and the bulls are the main source of our beef industry. We selected low birth weight bulls and with great genetics in marbling, carcass, and so we run our cow-calf operation year-round with four different locations, and we do a spring. We have a spring calving and a fall calving, and it's been working really well with the genetics that we have. As far as we raise these cattle for with some to the local market, and then some for beef customers for processing. So Aubrey is going to talk about that segment of it.
Okay, on the beef processing, we look at our calves, we see which ones should be more productive in selecting for beef. So if you look at these are some that we are working now, and they are grass-fed, grain finished on these. So the quality of our meat, we really have some good reviews on taste, tenderness, and the whole product.
Yeah, marbling.
Really, marbling all is really good, great. So our selection in what we do, thank you. Our selection in what we do, we try to make sure we pick our top select ones for our processing. In the future, we plan to do more. We want to do more. We want to build from where we are and pass it on to the next generation.
Our target is for processing is 1,250 pounds. We'll be ready for processing. So these, the largest one in this group is about 900 pounds. So he's still about 2.5 months out. But then the others, they'll be following right along. So they've been eating well, and they're looking well. So we've always been taught that if you take care of them, they will take care of you. Right?
Okay, we don't use no growth hormones. We don't use anything to alter what we do. They are natural. The only thing we actually do, we'll give them a wormer, a multi-min 90, a vitamin shot, and
2 rounds of the vaccine.
2 rounds of the vaccine to keep from having any respiratory diseases or anything like that. So they are really natural, and you can look at them and tell how good they actually look.
Hello, my name is Tony Berry here at Berry Family Farms. I just want to talk about our cattle production on the beef side as far as processing goes, and why it's very important to buy local beef. Purchasing locally grown beef supports your community by keeping the money in the regional economy, creating local agriculture jobs, and reducing their environmental footprint of the food transportation. It also promotes sustainable farming practices and ensures higher transparency in animal welfare. A few things that benefit you from buying local as far as the community aspect goes: you strengthen the local economy, you promote environmental health, fostering transparency and welfare. Knowing where your beef and your product comes from is very important and a very huge aspect to the community, to know where your beef actually comes from. For example, you can go to any fast food restaurant and buy a hamburger, and there are up to almost 100 different DNAs in that one hamburger. When you buy locally from our farm and you bite into that burger, it's one DNA. All that beef comes from one cow, and that's very important. and health-related issues in rural areas like down south. So with that being said, buying local always supports your community. You can trace and source where your beef actually comes from. So that's why it's extremely important to buy local from local ranchers.
So here we are in our vegetable garden. It's a 5-acre plot that we have fenced in with 8-foot fencing. And here we grow seasonal produce. Like currently we have peppers, okra, which is one of our #1 sellers, sweet corn, beans, potatoes, and so on. So here what we do, we like to use regenerative practices to help build our soil. So we crop rotation, cover crops to always make sure we're rebuilding, regenerating our soils. And we use drip irrigation as well to guarantee that we get the right water quality to our roots of our plant.
Good. Okay. With that being said, I'll talk about a little bit about soil health. I know Cedric touched on regenerative farming and crop rotation and cover crops and companion planting. Soil health is very, very, very important. With regenerative farming, we try to implement those practices on our garden as far as no-till, light activity to the soil as far as turning it. We don't really turn too deep with our soil. But cover crops and companion planting are very important because we want roots to stay in the ground year-round to provide the nutrients and stuff we need for our soil. Like Cedric touched on, this is our 5-acre garden. And with this garden, we primarily supply the farmers markets that we do. We do a farmers market in Savannah. We had one in Pooler, Georgia. We're going to reach out and start one in Richmond Hill and Jessup as well. So with that being said, this 5-acre garden can support all of those markets, but in the future we are looking to upgrade our garden so we can reach out and touch more markets and put our products in other regions that are local and a little further away that are in food deserts. So with the soil health, certain things that we do soil samples every year, sometimes twice a year. And with those soil samples, once we get them back, if we need to add like lime to get our pH up, to give the vegetables a good fighting chance to have a good balance of pH, we'll add lime to it. Sometimes we'll plant clover to ease out the nitrogen in the soil. So with that, we know where our products come from. We know what goes into our products. We don't use any pesticides or anything like that. We're borderline organic, but not all the way organic because we don't have the manpower to be fully organic, and that requires a lot of manpower. So hopefully in the near future, once we scale up and grow a little bit, we'd be able to hire some labor to help us with that and become fully organic. As far as the markets, our primary market is in Savannah, Georgia. It's at the Forsyth Farmers Market. We're there every single Saturday, all 52 weekends out of the year. It's a very lucrative market for us. There are certain challenges with that because we're an hour and 10 minutes away. It's like 63 miles away from this location. So the logistics aspect of it is challenging at times. So it's all hands-on job for sure. Starts Thursdays and Fridays. We harvest and then we hit the market, super early Saturday mornings, and we're there all day Saturday. But we love it. The community loves us. They look for us. They constantly ask for us. They love our vegetables and our produce. And this is our garden.
One thing we look forward to moving towards the future is trying to implement some type of infrastructure for adding value to our products. Yeah. We really think adding more value to our products will really help build our community. Food deserts, where the grocery stores are over 5-10 miles away, if we had the facility where we can add value to our collards or add value to our okra, will help not only preserve them, but will help the community be able to just be ready. They don't have to do the extra work. We have the work done for them. Mm-hmm. So that is definitely something we're looking forward to in the near future.
Yeah. With that, we definitely want to tackle these food deserts and definitely supply fresh produce to the inner city communities that do not have access to fresh local produce. Again, like I said, the logistics of it is challenging, but we're definitely up for the challenge. We provide fresh produce for our community, which is pretty much a rural area, and surrounding communities as well in this rural area. But our main focus is definitely the inner city, helping those neighborhoods and those communities out for sure.
Hello, I'm Ben Sterling, a program manager for McIntosh S.E.E.D, Sustainable Environment and Economic Development. We're a nonprofit located in Darien, Georgia, along the coast. Since 1998, we've worked to strengthen communities through education, outreach, conservation, aiding landowners and farmers on stewardship, sustainable agriculture and regenerative agricultural practices, aiding farmers on obtaining certifications and becoming eligible for wholesale markets, as well as being a liaison for a lot of USDA programs. Since 1998, we've been able to work with farmers with asset-based land retention strategies to help strengthen their farms, not only in this community, but communities across the state. Some of our programs include sustainable forestry. We own and operate an 1,100-acre community forest in Long County that we use as a demonstration site and learning lab, so landowners and farmers are able to see conservation practices implemented on the ground. We also use that area to have a connection with the Forestry Commission and other agricultural professionals, where our landowners and farmers are able to get the information as well as build relationships with those entities. We work to create sustainable food systems. We're a convener for producers, as well as providing that outreach and training for producers across the state. Working with farms like the Berry Farms has been very instrumental in sustaining the food systems in this area. We also created the South Georgia Black Cattlemen's Association. The thought process behind that was to have a space where black farmers were able to share best practices, convene, learn, as well as aid in implementing some of those herd management practices. They also have a voice at the table, with Cedric being the president of the chapter, to be able to hear about the policy advocacy, that the Cattlemen Association is doing as a whole. It's actually the 75th chapter of the Georgia Cattlemen Association. So instead of being hobby farmers, they're actually integrated into the beef industry as well, and being connected to some of those resources that are available to them. Our main mission is to strengthen communities by providing access to those resources. There's a lot of opportunities that small acreage farmers deal with as far as limited access to capital, initial capital, or just education around some of those conservation practices or herd management practices that can be implemented to not only better the quality of the soil, but improve the quality of the beef. A goal of the chapter is to make sure that the cattlemen are able to get more per pound per their beef. But that doesn't happen unless they are able to implement those conservation practices, participate in the herd management practices that you heard earlier that the Berry Farms are participating in to improve the quality of their beef. They also use this farm as a demonstration site to share with other farmers on not only what to do, but how to do it. They also, which they may not tell you, will go to other farms to aid them in implementing some of those practices for their farms as well. The formation of the South Georgia Black Cattlemen Association was a way to strengthen the cattle operations across the region. It's also a platform for training and advocacy and resource sharing by being connected to the Georgia Cattlemen Association. The Berry Family's Farm membership is not only essential, but also in their leadership roles have been beneficial by leading by example, and as well as allowing those opportunities for collaborations in the region. Everything that goes into this farm doesn't just affect their consumers, but it affects the region by that being shared with the network of farmers that are connected to the Berry Family Farm. These partnerships don't just support the farm, they help shape the future of our food in our region. And Cedric, as a president, will bring us home by connecting all of the threads.
So we've talked about our farm, our region, and our partnerships. Now I'll kind of explain how that all comes together. We've put in the work, we've tested the methods, and worked hard to master the practices of sustainable agriculture. But we understand that legacy isn't built by keeping that knowledge to yourself. True leadership means pulling others up as you climb. We don't want to just be a successful farm. We want to share our resources and empower producers in our region. This is why we have plans to position ourselves to become a regional food hub. By collaborating with powerhouses like AgriUnity, McIntosh S.E.E.D, and the South Georgia Black Cattlemen's Association, we are working towards building equitable food futures for rural Georgia. We are thinking about our neighbors within at least 100-mile radius, those that have to drive a minimum of 60 to 90 minutes in one direction for any type of processing or value adding. That affects 200 plus livestock producers and 300 plus fruit and vegetable producers who have the grit and the land and the passion, but lack the infrastructure to scale. These producers often feel like they are alone, but we want to change that narrative from isolation to collaboration. We have plans to have an on-farm butcher shop, which will lay the groundwork for full-scale processing. This will reduce the carbon footprint and increase cattle processing numbers in our region. Simultaneously, we are addressing the critical lack of cold storage and value-added facilities because farmers shouldn't put in the hard work only to be blocked out of markets due to the lack of infrastructure. In closing, we are building an ecosystem where independent farms can thrive, where rural economies are revitalized, and where leadership is passed down to the next generation, not as a burden, but as a triumph. We hope today that we've gained some knowledge, but also connected you with the land and the people that steward the land, and the vision of a food system where every family has access to food. This is the work, this is the legacy, and this is the future we are building together.